the Golden Globes. It's the Oscars' weird foreign cousin. And last night's ceremony was less focused on the awards than who was handing them out.
The Golden Globes live from coast to coast. For the first time in Globes history, taking a place in 2 time zones with hosts Amy Poehler in LA and Tina Fey in New York. It didn't take long for the duo to address one of the biggest controversies this year, that being that of the 87 voting members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which runs the Globe, there are 0 black voters.
I realize HFPA, maybe you guys didn't get the memo because your workplace is the back booth of a French McDonald's, but you got to change that. So here's to changing it.
The organization vowing to do better.
We recognize we have our own work to do. Just like in film and television, black representation is vital. We must have black journalists in our organization.
Yeah, no shit. You know you've got representation problems when the Proud Boys have more black members than you. But basically, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was being roasted all night by the hosts, by the presenters, even by themselves. I mean, so the good news is, you know they're going to fix the problem. Because can you imagine them coming back next year and being like, we are still working on finding a single black person. If anybody out there knows a single black person, please give us their number. But aside from the no black people controversy, I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy getting to see inside all of these celebrities' homes. And hands down, my favorite house was Jeff Daniels. Because I don't know if you noticed this, but there are like 5 doors in that room. And think about this, we're only seeing 1.5 walls. I mean, there could easily be 10 to 20 more doors. You know, some celebrities spend their money on fancy cars and jewelry. Jeff Daniels spends his money on doors. I respect the hell out of that. And look, we could spend a lot more time talking about representation at the Golden Globes, or all the amazing black actors and filmmakers who won this year, and how brave it was for Sean Penn to let a Roomba cut his hair. But we don't have the time for that, because we have to talk about the political scandal that is rocking the country.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo increasingly under fire tonight. A second woman reportedly coming forward accusing him of sexual harassment.
The latest allegations come from 25-year-old Charlotte Bennett, a former Cuomo executive assistant and health policy advisor. She tells the New York Times that the 63-year-old governor asked her questions about her sex life. Quote, he asked me if I believed if age made a difference in relationships, she says, and if I had ever been with an older man. And at one point, she says the governor said he's fine with anyone above the age of 22.
The Times reports that the 63-year-old governor said he had been lonely during the pandemic and pressed her on who she last hugged, saying he can't even hug anyone before turning to Bennett, asking her who I last hugged. Asking, no, I mean like really hugged somebody.
She interpreted these questions as clear overtures for a sexual relationship.
The 63-year-old governor releasing a statement Sunday that said, at work sometimes, I think I am being playful and make jokes that I think are funny. I do, on occasion, tease people in what I think is a good-natured way. Cuomo adding, I now understand that my interactions may have been insensitive or too personal. I acknowledge some of the things I have said have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation.
Guys, of course he was being playful. I mean, imagine your much older, politically powerful boss turns to you and says, when was the last time you were really hugged? That's super playful. Can't you feel your skin crawling with delight? Here's the thing. Even if Cuomo did think that he was just being playful, it's still not okay, all right? This is what bosses never seem to understand. If you're a boss, you should never be flirtatious with your employees, because as a boss, you're basically a dragon, all right? Nobody's ever trying to hug a dragon. They're just trying to get out of the cave in one piece. Seriously, Caitlin, maybe sometime we should go out for a coffee. So right now, things are looking pretty bad for Governor Cuomo. He's facing investigations and even calls to resign. And you know that it's not good when you're the person in trouble and you're like, guys, please, remember all those old people in nursing homes I got killed? Let's talk about that again. Come on, huh? And I'll tell you, man, all those people who praised Cuomo so highly last year, whew, those people really don't look so smart now. Delete the tapes, delete the tapes, delete them all. I mean, it must be so embarrassing. Can you imagine if you're one of those people? Just burn them. I don't give a shit. Burn them. Yeah, and then you just cut this part out. Now look, There's a lot more to say about what consequences Cuomo should face, or how creepy it is that he refers to sex as rarely hugging. But we can't get into all of that right now, because the President of the United States is dropping bombs.
New details tonight about the U.S. airstrikes in Syria overnight, the first military action taken by the Biden administration. President Biden ordered strikes on an Iranian-backed militia compound in eastern Syria near the Iraqi border. 9 buildings were destroyed, and Iraqi officials said 1 militia member was killed. The strikes were retaliation for a rocket attack in Iraq earlier this month that killed a civilian contractor and wounded a U.S. service member and other coalition troops.
Some Democrats wish Biden would have asked them for an okay. Senator Tim Kaine protests offensive military action without congressional approval is not constitutional, absent extraordinary circumstances. Congress must be fully briefed on this matter expeditiously.
Yes, barely a month into Joe Biden's presidency, and he has already dropped his first bombs on Syria. You know, new American presidents bomb the Middle East the way new inmates beat the hell out of somebody on their first day in the prison yard. And I don't even know why. I really don't get it. I mean, America doesn't need to look tough. It's not like Canada saw Biden bombing Syria and all of a sudden they were like, all right, better cancel the invasion, eh? And what's crazy is all the senators can do after this is just complain. It's actually ridiculous just how little power Congress has to actually stop the president from bombing whoever he wants. Even a drunk guy at a bar has at least 2 friends to hold him back. And I don't think it's too much to ask for the US government to have more checks and balances than a McSwiggins. I will say this though. What I do find really interesting is that when it comes to helping people, you know, like raising the minimum wage or canceling student debt, Biden says he respects any tiny Senate rules that block him. I can't do it because of the Senate. But when it comes to dropping bombs on people, suddenly Biden is like, man, f*** Congress. Let's do it and be legends. Now look, people. There's a lot to say about how America can't seem to stop fighting in the Middle East, and about the hypocrisy of bombing Syria after condemning Trump when he did it. But we don't have the time to talk about that hypocrisy because there was an even more blatant one just this weekend.
Report on the grisly 2018 murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, confirming the U.S. assessment that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, personally approved the Saudi operation to capture or kill Khashoggi, who was a critic of the Saudi royal family.
The president has decided to give Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman a pass. No direct sanctions, basically no punishment.
The White House now arguing that they must maintain the relationship with Saudi Arabia, but that they are recalibrating it. The CNN team at the White House is also being told that sanctions against MBS were, quote, too complicated and could jeopardize U.S. military interests in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I certainly hope Saudi Arabia has learned its lesson. Killing journalists will not be tolerated for a few months while I'm running for president, and then after that it will be tolerated. I'm sorry for raising my voice. No, but for real though, guys, I'm just joking. This is actually really sweet to see. You need to find you someone who forgives you the way America forgives Saudi Arabia. Because every fight they have ends like a romantic comedy. You know, just the two of them standing in the rain. So you're not mad that I killed your journalist? I am mad, Saudi Arabia. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life forgiving you. Wow, you really hugging me. But hey, I understand where President Biden is coming from. He needs Saudi Arabia's support, or they won't let American soldiers stay there. And America needs those soldiers there to protect America's other soldiers who are there. And those soldiers are there to support Saudi Arabia, whose support America needs to keep troops there to protect the troops who are... Wait, this doesn't sound right.